Plasterboarding the ceiling 2. This time it's personal. Last week had its difficulties, and as ever, I was determined to make good progress with the back stairs and secret bathroom. If you ever want to get gypsum powder in your eyes, this is how to do it. Stupid boy. I created a makeshift ceiling prop. Can't be wasting good money on a tool I might not need again. And I had my glamorous ski onesie wearing assistant Jane to hold the other side. I admit I did get told off for taking too long as her arms were going to fall off. But Jane has a PhD and knows how to use her head. So this joist sits a little bit higher than the rest of them. And so I'm using a bit of old lave to bridge the gap so that the plasterboard doesn't get bent too far and risk snapping. I don't mind the ceiling being a little bit wavy overall, but yeah, if I just screwed that in, it would probably snap along here somewhere. So I'm hoping that this little bit of wood will bridge it nicely. I've got lots of plaster in my eyes. That's that sorted. There was one more strip of plasterboard to attach, and this time I needed a Jane up a ladder wearing a silly hat holding a broomstick. Luckily, I had one. Once secured, I went round making sure there were enough screws in it to keep it up there for the foreseeable. And just like that, it was done. Tiger Lily, as this little pupsicle is now called, finds that the best form of attack is to lie down, show off her tummy and submit completely. This would be their last walk before their new harnesses arrived. And yes, you did just see Jane wearing her dressing gown whilst walking the dogs. Whilst still very timid, she's gaining in confidence every day. I mean Tiger Lily, not Jane. There's always one. And it's always that one. Learning bad habits already. You rotten devil. Please don't mind me sitting on the toilet, you're all welcome. So I've just got to finish off the tiling. I've got about 10 more tiles to do in 2 patches. And then that's the tiling done in here. And tomorrow afternoon, once it's all done, I can probably grout and then I'll be working on the walls. So I pick up with the floor. Well, that is the tiling complete. So I'm going to let that dry because in places I have had to do quite a thick bed of adhesive, which I prefer not to have it that thick, but it'll be all right. It's not going to be a walking surface. There's just going to be a bath there. And then once that's all done and grouted, I can then start on the walls. So first things first, there's a big hole over here, which I need to patch. So more than likely, I will sort of cut that straight and probably stick some plasterboard to it. Maybe make a frame to give it a bit of support in there and then put some plasterboard on and skim over it. Over here, we've got to finish off the wood panelling, which sort of goes down from the ceiling down to about waist height, and from there it's all missing because that's where there used to be that sort of peninsula sticking out and the old toilet there. So I've got to use the leftover bits of the the wood panelling to try and recreate the rest of it, the bottom bit. And then there'll be some bits and bobs left over, which I don't know whether we can use some to go along here or not. We'll just have to sort of have a play around and see what looks good and what doesn't. If not, most of this wall is probably just going to be painted. And once all the wood panelling's done and I know where everything's going, I will be boxing in the pipework, because I believe Jane has bought bath taps that effectively come out of the wall. So I've got to box them in so I can have them coming out of the wall over the bath. I've got to sort all of that out, but that will be a few days work down the line, I should think. But for now, I'm really pleased that the floor is down and the ceiling is up.
This is the beautiful balcony of the bibliothèque. Beautiful, but hang on a minute. Why is it painted such weird, not very nice colours? The squatters did some painting while they were here. So they had green, white and red and gold paint, and they did some artwork while they were here, and they added green to this. Last year I experimented with making it grey or this grey blue, and I was a bit worried that the grey blue was a bit too blue, but I've decided the grey is too grey and this is the colour I'm going for. So it takes quite a long time to paint the railings because there's such a big surface area, but there's no time like the present. Well, I've agonised over the colour of doing the railings, and I decided the most important thing was to get some paint on and to cover up the hodgepodge that was there before. Viewers may be forgiven for thinking that I'm adding blue-grey to everything just for the fun of it, but it does go really well with the stonework, and blue-grey is generally the colour that was here before, particularly the woodwork. The balconies, I'm not quite sure what colour they were, but they've definitely had blue on them at some stage. So anyway, there they are, there it is, and there all the balconies are going to be done that colour for now, and if we think it's too bright we can always change it.
So to plug the big gap in the wall in the secret bathroom, I need to put some insulation in the wall first before I do the stud work, just because a big drafty Chateau needs all the insulation it can get. So before I go out and buy any, I thought I'd have a quick look around to see what's lying around the Chateau, because half the time you find what you need if you look hard enough. And so I was having a wander around in the laundry room, as it were, which will be a bedroom one day. And in the corner, I found pretty much exactly what I was looking for. I'll just flip the camera and show you. So I found all of these polystyrene sheets, and they will do perfectly as some wall insulation to go into stud work. So, oops, falling down. So I don't need to spend money to do that job, which is always nice because things are getting quite expensive. Also, if you've been following our channel, you may have noticed that we mentioned that there are candles everywhere in the Chateau sometimes, and there's another two boxes full of candles, and they are I don't know, 50 centimeters long or something like that. So they're just everywhere. The biggest candles we have in the Chateau are in the laundry room. It's a bit of a mess, but these ones here we are. This one, it's a blue wrapped packet, and it's quite bowed because it's been leaning against the wall for so long, but it is as tall as me. That is one candle, and it's 180 centimeters long. I have no idea what fitting you'd put it in, or where you'd light it, or when you'd light it, but a candle it is. You never know what you're going to find here. One more thing that is a discovery I wasn't expecting. Recently I wanted to, as is all the rage at the moment, I wanted to get into improving my gut health, you know. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to try and make my own sauerkraut, because that's about the easiest of all of those sorts of things to make, apparently. So I bought myself a cabbage. I thought, oh, I don't have enough kiln jars. So I came into the laundry area and opened a door and found a shelf full of them. So I can get those cleaned up, and those seals, some of them look a bit cracked and old, but all the shops, all the supermarkets around here readily have those seals. It's brilliant. In the UK, you'd really struggle to find them, but they're in pretty much every supermarket. So I've got my jars, now I just need to clean them and I can make my sauerkraut. Welcome to Jane's Find of the Day with Jane.
Hello and welcome to this week's Find of the Day at Chateau de Pican. Today I'm going to be talking about this. We're in the bibliothèque of the Chateau, and it was owned by people who absolutely loved candles. So what could be more appropriate than a candle with a three-dimensional, or certainly a relief carving of someone in an old-fashioned library. The attention to detail on this piece is astonishing, and it's quite heavy. I mean, obviously it's made of wax. So we've got a gentleman with literally his nose in a book. He's standing on a stool. He's climbing up amongst the books. There's all kinds of decorations. Oh, it says physic just here. So maybe that means medicine in German. And round to this side we have a gentleman who is maybe working in the library. He's writing something. Maybe he's a librarian. Is that his hat and his cloak hanging up? There's a large book here. There's a picture on the wall. There's some, I guess that would be stairs going up, and there's a window, and oh, there's a little bird statue maybe on the window. What do we have here? Cactuses. So it's amazingly detailed, and I understand that this was hand painted and hand carved. When you look it up, the hits that you get are for a guy called Johann Gunther Kurtzen. Now, I don't know whether it's an individual person or whether it's a company, because some of the items claim to be from the 1920s, and sometimes people say 1970s. So is this one individual who did all this work, or was it a company? I assume it was a company, and that these were produced, not necessarily mass produced. They were carved by hand, but there was some kind of workshop where they were being produced by several different people. I mean, there's like a pair of scissors there. It's just incredible. And this has never been used. And it's obviously a decorative item. So pretty extraordinary, and I think it belongs here.
I've decided the next job is actually taking this toilet out. So I can get it all of this wall, and then we can start filling in the wall where the waste pipe is, etc. So I'm going to get this toilet out, and then maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I'll be able to start working on patching this wall. And oh God, it would just be nice to have that plasterboard in looking fantastic. Oh, it won't happen unless I do it though. Ooh, I can't be bothered. Oh, I've just finished making sauerkraut, and I have purple hands. I've washed them about 5 times and they're still bright purple.
The moment that perhaps none of you have been waiting for.
So in terms of what this might be worth, well, when you look up how much a Johann Gunther Kerzen candle, similar to this, I mean there are different ones. I have found the exact same one being sold in France, but there are a multitude of different designs. They are surprisingly, to me, inexpensive to buy. So if this is something that you want, you should be able to get hold of it for $40, something like that. Maybe a bit more. I mean, this one seems to be a particularly fine example, so maybe this one would be twice that price. But they're really not hugely expensive, given the workmanship that's gone into making them. Some of them refer to having the maker's mark underneath. Now, I'm absolutely confident that it is a Johann Gunther Kerzen because it's so distinctive, and I have found one exactly the same. But I had a look underneath. It does not have a maker's mark that I can see, but it does have a price. And sorry, it's upside down. But it looks like when it was bought, it was originally priced at $70.99, but it was reduced to 30, and I'm guessing that's Deutschmarks. So I'm guessing that at the end of, well, sometime in the 90s, or could have been earlier, could have been in the 80s, whilst Deutschmarks still existed, this was snapped up for 30 Deutschmarks, which is kind of in line with the sort of money that we were talking about earlier. So something that hasn't appreciated hugely in value over its lifetime, and very much a niche item, but I think it's fascinating, and it's absolutely perfect for here.
Back in the bathroom, I was finally getting started on the stud work for the plasterboard. Once done, I had to scribe the plasterboard to make it fit snugly. Once in, I was on the home stretch. Apart from failing 6 times to find the stud beneath the plasterboard in one corner. Once I did though, I was unstoppable. Until it was about now that I realised I hadn't put the insulation in the wall. So off it came again. Rather than heat insulation, the polystyrene board will help to soundproof the bathroom from the bedroom on the other side of the wall. With the cavity filled, the board was going on for the last time. The last thing to do was to stick the other sheet of board to the wall using adhesive. I couldn't use a thick layer as it needed to be as close to the wall as possible to match in.
I found a stick on the floor that one of the puppies was chewing.
What sort of stick?
Well, it looks like it was once a wooden spoon. Maybe it had some food on it, and maybe it fell because gravity was acting strangely in the kitchen.
Did it fall into a mouth?
It fell, yes. It fell into an unsuspecting mouth of a spaniel.
Oh dear.
And it's lucky we saw it in good time, because now we've got some kindling.
I mustn't make any noise. I don't want to disturb you. Sorry, Beth. Sorry, Beth. I think I'm going to be like this all night now. Can't move.
A box of wine and a cocker spaniel. Jane's idea of a good night in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.